Hi everyone, how's it going today?
Hi.
Good. If you don't know, my name is Doug Yeager. I'm Multimedia Director for Brown Mackie College. We are rolling out what we call the Master Resource Shell, the LMS Master Resource Shell. Now, originally you all were going to receive a shell that had this content in it, which means what for your eCollege copy function? Do you guys know?
It would not work well.
Why?
When something is copied over, you cannot do an all copy content from a previous shell for your content.
Right, and then when you go to copy your course content, what do you not get to copy over?
Gradebook.
Gradebook. So you're basically setting up Gradebook, which would happen every month after this. So because that was going to be a very big negative impact on you to have to set up your Gradebook every month, we went through a new concept, okay? So today we're going to talk about that new concept, but first of all I'm going to go through what we're going to talk about. We're going to review the Master Resource Shell content so you guys get an idea of what's in there and the value that I think we brought to the LMS. And one of the things that we're going to be doing is in your course home, you guys are going to do a complete course copy over like normal from your previous classes. So all of your content will be there. And right now we designed this that you would have faculty training unit, but we're going to put 2 items in your course home along with whatever else you do or you have. We're going to ask that you put a student resources item in there, and as you see, one of the images that you saw earlier, this is the student resources content. So students can go right to my Brown Mackie without having to leave the eCollege platform. One of the things is one-stop shopping. Students don't have to jump out of eCollege, go into the web, and find any of these resources. E-text training, iPad resources, these are probably the same in BMC resources that help students get right to the iPad content. Then we are still working on some stuff from academics, but you'll be able to hit the Talk One-on-One, disability services. We have some military benefits. This is the center, and then some quick stuff on time management. Some of the academic department wanted some tips on time management. We can hit the home and go right back to our home page, and then I think we have to hit student resources to get back to student resources homepage. So this will be something that we want to make sure you have in your eCollege shell so that students can have access to this. Now, we can add content because this is a separate HTML web page. We can be adding content as technology evolves. As policies and procedures change, we'll be able to change things in the background. And then in August, once you taught that class, you copy over, everything should be there because you've already copied it into your July course, right? So we've eliminated having to do this repetition every month by doing this new rollout process. I think one of the main things that you're going to find very useful is our faculty training support, but this was a unit, but it's just going to be an item in your course home. We have faculty quick start, faculty training, and faculty resources. It does look like this. You have these 3 things. You can click on one of those, it'll go faculty training. You can click on faculty quick start, and you can click on faculty resources, and it'll take you right to those pages. But for this demonstration, I'm just showing you what we built in LMS. The faculty quick start, the decision that we have a separate faculty quick start is for faculty who get hired like late on, and they need something very quickly. So LMS Basics, if we click on LMS Basics, we have a plethora of videos that go from the overview, orientation, adding announcements, building course calendar, creating drop baskets, copy course functions, again, for them to remember how to copy things over, embed YouTube videos, threaded discussions, engaging in threaded discussions. Again, it's not just building the threaded discussions, but it's also how the instructor is expected to engage in those threaded discussions. Set up your gradebook, journal entries. What's the difference between journal entries and a thread discussion? PowerPoint uploads, so your PowerPoints are in LMS and you can deliver them from them. Moving or renaming content. I don't know if you guys have ever had to do that, but with the steps on that. Webliography, search, and posting. So anything that you can come up with also that you can send to me through an email on what you think is going to be beneficial to a new hire or even a seasoned faculty member. We want to know this information because we want to provide this here. This is something that's very helpful because when you when you do hire a new faculty member and you do the training in e-college, how many times do they set up their gradebook? Once a month. So probably next month they're going, oh, I forgot, right? Well, now they got this video and they're not going to task you for all these little things that they forgot or didn't take notes on. So they can watch this video and it'll be there every day. So I think the training, and plus it's universal. We should have more universal understanding of what's expected by our faculty members so that we can get them to perform the way we want them to and learn the Brown-Mackey way. So that's one of the benefits of having this universal LMS content in your course shell. Faculty training is a little more in depth. We want to know what's important for that seasoned faculty member. Add due dates. How do you add due dates to your LMS? Here's a video on how to add due dates from the calendar, but I'm also going to try to incorporate what Jeff has done with due dates in his course home. So we'll be building some and adding some content in due dates. We want students to be able to click on something that they know what's due today and be able to go to that process or to that information directly without having to scan through all of your content that's in your course, right? If we can save them time from trying to find your content and they're spending that time on doing the work, hopefully their outcomes will be better. Teaching effectiveness, this is information from Lisa Mays-Rudisell as far as teaching strategies, classroom management techniques. Some of these are all PowerPoints, and we're trying to develop them into videos eventually, or have the combination of both. Some people still like to read flat copy instead of video, so we're going to try to provide both so we can deliver in many methods. The teaching cycle. This is Lisa Mays-Rudisell chunking the lesson. Again, we want to also expand on lesson plans and so on and so forth, so we'll be building more content in there as we go. Attendance policy. We will have some videos on the attendance policy that will complement this. Posting grades and attendance, how to post your final grades video. It also talks about making sure you export that Excel sheet. And it also has what records, what information is the student records looking for. How many times do you say, wow, what do I have to give in my final grades or so on and so forth? So this video should cover it, okay? DCRs, I know that not all schools do DCRs, but what's expected from a DCR. Reporting at-risk students, how to look at, evaluate what an at-risk student is, kind of a definition of it. So you probably, again, the seasoned instructors know exactly how to do this, but this will be information for adjuncts and faculty members who come on board. We are still developing academic plans, but what the process of this would be is how many times do you get an academic plan in your face as an instructor and have to fill this out? And you may not know everything that's supposed to be or expected to be on it. So we're looking at compliance to help us out with what is expected. And that form should be demonstrated in a video that we will produce. I'm supposed to meet with them in a few weeks as far as getting all of that stuff together. But you know, how many times did you see a form and you're like, I don't really know what to do with this? This is going to be helpful to all your instructors on making sure that they're filling out things that are compliant and legal. What happens when you get a pool slip? Information on there, the definition of what a pool slip is and what to do. Kind of also coaches instructors on what to say and try to make sure that they are, you know, using language that is supportive. Make sure that we try to take the student down the student records as opposed to just giving them this and then they go home and they don't see student records or so. So again, this information is beneficial on what steps they should take to helpfully be a positive impact on our student. Student life. Other than what we got here, we're going to be looking at student clubs, student honors, different types of things that we have that we will be posting in here, and that work is still being developed. Not all schools do the same thing. For those that do have that, we will be putting content in there. Classroom observations. I put something together that just talks people through that form. Most classroom observations are going to be done on an iPad. But I did do the Word document and went step by step. Here's what an observer would be looking for when they're sitting in your class as far as, you know, participation. Every line item I kind of went over and said, here's what your observer should be looking for. Now, we're going to spice that up by getting some what we call B-roll, action shots in the classroom eventually, whether it's this campus or other campuses. So once we get that footage, and I'm talking about that particular aspect, we'll be able to then cut into some live action shots that help make it more visual and entertaining. But we do have something in there for new hires to at least go through and understand what's expected. Because how many of you had a classroom observation and you really didn't know what's expected or what you to do? So this is hopefully is going to explain everything. Instructors can be more dynamic, and this is why you're going to get rated this way or so on and so forth when an observer comes in to see you for your classroom observation. Does everybody know what our quarterly breaks are? Now we do, we're seasoned faculty, right? But this kind of just explains that we do 3 months, we do 3 terms, we take a break. Any question on faculty training? Do you see anything we may have missed? I mean, this is not HR. We understand HR, and HR is going to be a whole other aspect that we may improve on later. But this is just basically classroom, what happens in your classroom, and how we can prepare our instructors to deliver a dynamic class every day. Yes?
And once again, this is going to roll into every month's shell.
You are going to roll it in to your shell.
Right.
It was going to be automatic, but we got a different concept now. So it's going to be a process until we get every class scheduled and done, and then hopefully every class that we have will have this content.
And students will not be able to see this.
Students will be able to see the student resources, but as you can see, the faculty resources are hidden, and we will teach you in the training video on how to hide. Some of you guys are, like I said, you're seasoned, you already know how to do that, but for adjuncts or faculty who don't know, it's there. But the student resources part that we covered, yes, we want them to see that. So there's going to be 2 copy functions that we're going to ask you to do in July, and then of course every class that is taught or that first comes on the schedule after that. Once you teach English, you teach it in July, you teach it in August, it'll be a complete copy over, you won't have to worry about it. But you're just going to have to worry about the classes that appear on the schedule for the first time after July. You're going to have to do this copy function.
I see that the day 1, day 2, day 3. What about classes that don't meet 3 days a week?
Ideally, we want you to have a day 1, day 2, day 3. Okay, and if we have some schools that have 4-day meetings, and of course nursing I believe does that too. So that's going to be up to that school to have to deliver that or monitor that and meet those expectations. We were going to force feed you 3 days a week, but that's not going to be the concept anymore. So we'll talk about an auditing process that you guys are going to have to do as a team because we need 100% compliance.
So those 3 days won't be forced in there. You can still
Correct.
add because, again.
Correct. You're still going to get the week 1,
Okay.
week 2, week 3, week 4, unless you've built in the days in your old classes and copied them over.
Okay.
Okay. Any questions? All right, good. How much time do you spend in e-college? A lot. So you're not jumping around from e-college to BMC resources. You can find this very quickly. I'm an instructor and I got a student coming up to me and they're just blah, 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 blah. Oh, especially if I'm not a seasoned instructor. Wait a minute. I can go to here, how to handle a complaint or how to handle something, and it gives me some language or something to respond to that I think is going to be more effective than, I'm sorry, I can't help you. Yes, sir.
So this is nothing more than a link to the faculty resources. But the reason why I'm asking that is in terms of the syllabus and creating. So can I now create the syllabus from here, or do I still have to go to faculty resources?
Yeah, there is a link to the BMC resources, which then gets you to it. Now, it doesn't go immediately. You still have to log in because that's a separate security device. So yes, but it will get you there. You don't have to bring up a new window. Or so. It might pop up a new window as opposed to be displayed in here. Some stuff does display in there, but because this is the security web page, it will open up a new window, but it'll be right there. And yes, you won't have to type in www. It'll be right there to a link. Now, how do we know your instructors are going to do this process? I'm asking a question. How do you know?
We're going to check.
I mean, does Doug get to audit all these classes?
Sure. Are you signing up for that?
It was your idea,
Are you
Doug.
volunteering?
I'll tell you what I'll do later, but I want to know what you're going to do
Where's
first.
Keith? Let's put it on my list now.
Were you on the dean's call when we described the auditing process?
I was not.
Okay. Remember the auditing process I went through last fall, where we got all the courses and then just divided it by department chair and then sent it to the department chair to just do a quick audit? This is not as detailed as that audit system was. You're just going to check, is there a student resources item in there and does it have the content? Is there a faculty resource item in the course home and is there content and is it hidden from the student? So you're going to observe 3 things in your classes and you're going to put a 1 in the column of each, and if there's a 1 in every column, it's 100% compliance. You will then send your departments, your programs, courses that month to the dean, and the dean will compile a list to see that their courses are 100% in compliance. And then they'll report to me to make sure. So it takes a team to do this because you might have 5 or 6 different classes in your program. Gen Ed's probably going to have 17 because I know that there's a lot of those classes out there. But again, it's just a quick check. It should take you not even 2 minutes to go into that class and audit to see that these 3 things are done. Or these 2 things are done, but the one, again, we want to make sure it's hidden from the students, the faculty, resources. And it's a spreadsheet we designed. We're going to be on a dean's call again before we do this rollout to, again, explain that. And then, because we're going to do a bulk of it in July, because there's going to be a lot of classes, but if it's a comp class and Chris taught it, he's going to have it in August if he teaches it in August, because he's going to have a complete course copy over. So we're really going to be looking at programmatic, and eventually as we get further down through December and January, we're going to have less classes to audit. We want to make sure that everything's 100% in compliance. So there is an auditing system that we're asking the deans and the academic team to do in the first so many months until we know that it's all in compliance. Yes, Michael?
What was that 3rd item? You said student resources, faculty resources?
And then that the faculty resources is hidden from the students. We want to make sure it's hidden. So there's 3 things we're going to be checking when we audit your classes. Now I'm going to do routine audits or assist deans that don't have the time, because I think the value of the information and the content that you're getting there should really drive your instructors to do that. And if I was a department chair, yes, because look at all that training material that is available to them that helps me know that they're getting trained properly and uniformly, right? What questions do you have?
You've made it user-friendly. It's going to be simple.
Right, and again, you got an idea that comes up because you're working the mechanics of your classroom and you're like, wow, this could be great. Shoot me an email. That's the process we want to be doing, is evolving this tool.
You may have already addressed this, and if so, I do apologize.
It's
but
okay.
As it relates to the e-text being inserted, will that mess this system up in any way?
The e-text system will be the same, and it won't mess the system up at all. No. You're looking at me like I'm crazy.
No, I was just wondering, because I know sometimes when the e-text is already there and you try to copy things or, try to copy a lot of things, it kind of won't allow you, and then you have to do things one by one. If the e-text is there before you figure that out. So if
The e-text should not be in there in these blank shells like normal. If they are, then we need to report that to the deans, who report that to Susan Sandridge. Because for whatever reason, the e-text should come after the blank shell. Now, it could be the fact that maybe the instructor did not copy over content early and the e-text went in. I don't know those processes, but if you're getting your class in week 3 and you're uploading, again, if you're getting your class in week 3 and you should, you have the ability to copy over. Now, when they put e-text in, I don't know. I think they put e-text in only as a request that I know of. We need to know what processes went in place that made it late, because we should be getting it in early. Okay? Because, yeah, once that e-text hits, it's not a blank shell anymore, and you can't do a 5-point copy over. Right. So, again, you have to work that out with your dean so that we understand what might have gone wrong. Where did it go wrong that e-text got in there, because we don't want you frustrated. You have to rebuild your grade book when that happens, and I know that's frustrating. So, thank you, I appreciate it.